Everyone, welcome to another Overrated Film Saturday. Apologize this video is being uploaded late. Been having a busy weekends as of late, and I'm going to be having an even more busy weekend coming this next Labor Day. I will try to see if I can get up to Friday's video up for you guys, and then there might be a delay till Monday, so we'll see. But I intend to be caught up today for what needs to be caught up, and we'll just kind of go from there and see where it leads. I just know that obviously next weekend, as well as the other weekends afterwards, there's going to be some delays for weekend videos only because I have some other things going on in life, and those things are very important to me, so obviously videos have to kind of come second, unfortunately. But without further ado, let me address what I wanted to talk about for this Overrated Film Saturday. And I know there might be some people who really enjoy this particular film, and I have still looked on to the rating system and all of that, and I've noticed that people seem to just love this movie for some reason. And it was pretty well known when it came out, at least, and it seemed to kind of gain some kind of appeal to people. But to be honest, felt like this film did not appeal to me largely. And this is a musical somewhat similar to Grease, and Chicago too. Like, I think that's an overrated musical as well as Grease. And this is another overrated musical, in my honest, humble opinion. Now, I've not actually seen the musical as a stage presence, and neither have I seen Grease done fully on stage. But from what I can tell, they're sort of similar, but yet bad for kind of different reasons, in my opinion. So, although I don't think this film is horrible by any stretch of the imagination, I still think that there's a lot of stuff in it that just does not appeal to me, and I felt like that at times I felt that it was really not trying to bring anything really new to the table. So without further ado, let me address those reasons. And as you can see by the title and thumbnail, we're going to be discussing Hairspray. And I'm talking about the 2007 version, because apparently that was the remake. And that was the one that I think generated the most hype, and a lot of people said that the first film was horrible and that this one was somehow better. But it seems like to me that the whole concept of Hairspray, it just kind of just doesn't really gander up anything that's new or exciting or fresh or innovative. Yeah, I think there's several reasons for this. And I think largely it's due to the fact that you have a lot of people within this film, even the main characters, like, I mean, what did Zac Efron end up doing after this? I mean, you can just tell that although he is supposed to kind of, he embodies that character that he's supposed to play well, overall, it didn't seem like it's one of those musicals where they smile way too much, and it feels very forced, and it feels like that they are really trying to, I mean, and I know it's partially the gimmick, like the idea that they're trying to sell you hairspray, kind of throughout the film, but at the same time I feel like that there is this very, very kind of, it's almost, I almost want to say it's on the level of Disney, doing High School Musical. That's the kind of feeling I got watching this movie. That it was really trying to put on the smiles and putting on the energy full blown. And when you have constantly people smiling at you, constantly having that overly uppity craze over something as, and I mean, it's kind of stupid too. I mean, it's Hairspray. Who gives a crap about Hairspray? Like, come on, people. It's just, I mean, there's just things that kind of, that are sort of centered around this film that I feel are just kind of, they're almost on the on that side of being too commercialized. That it feels like it's manufactured. It feels like there's just a ton of robots up there. You also have a very typical evil, pretty, villain. You have the whole and this is something that's become even more common now. You have the whole body image thing because the main star, she's a little bit overweight. And so we have to make a whole commentary on it and how she feels like she's not happy with herself, and that whole crap that we've seen time and time again from other films as well as from other songs. Like, this isn't nothing new. This idea of accepting yourself. Like, we've seen it time and time again. And I think the problem with the whole accepting yourself kind of message is that it doesn't tell you to improve yourself. It just says you're perfect the way you are, and those evil, skinny, mean people, the pretty ones, the ones that are skinnier and prettier than you, yeah, they're the evil, mean women who, it's just so it's really petty. And I felt like throughout the entire movie I was kind of watching a Carly Rae Jepsen video. Like, literally, and now that I think about it, it almost feels like that, because it is very bubbly, it's very outgoing, it's very energetic. But then at the same time, it's trying to, bring in all of these, so quasi powerful messages, but they're really not all that powerful when you think about them, because there's not a whole lot of depth to them. And that's what I think really bothered me about this movie. And also, I didn't actually care for the main character all too much, actually. I didn't think she was that likable. Also, Travolta and drag. Why did we need to see that? And why did we need to see him kiss Christopher Walken? Why did we need to see that? There was no purpose. And I can guarantee you Christopher Walken was probably not too happy doing that. I mean, really? Okay. What's the point? Why can't you just have a woman play a woman part? Like, why do you have to insert a man and drag in it? Like, that's just, no, it was so stupid. And the whole, it was just, it's just so painful just to just have these characters sing. Sometimes these songs too are so pointless. They don't progress the plot to do anything. They're just there for the sake of, we need John Travolta to dance around, and we need him to interact with his daughter. And I know that sounds really bizarre because he's supposed to be in drag, and it's just so annoying. Like, I don't get it. I don't get how is this appealing? Like, it's just it hurts my brain thinking about it. My God. Oh, it's so stupid. So that's another thing that I think really was a detriment to this movie, was the fact that it tries to be so goofy, over the top, and ridiculous, and instead it doesn't come off as funny or clever, but just stupid. And also, it tries to insert these little themes here of what was going on during the time, and we need to insert this here because that's what was going on during the time, because it takes place in the 60s. And those things don't even have any real weight to them. They're just there for the sake of having them there. And it's just pointless. Like, there is no point to this movie. Like, and again, a lot of the themes are very sugarcoaty and downplayed, and don't have any semblance of realism or anything that was really going on during the time, or reflect onto the whole really accept yourself. Like, there's no middle ground here that says accept yourself but also consider improving your well-being. I mean, and that's the problem that I have with this musical is it's just all about, yay, consumerism, and it just feels so God, I just can't stand it. And as a result, you get it's really watered down, and it's not engaging. Like, you're not interested in what's going on. And guess what this movie has, as far as, okay, they try to emphasize that there's a love, that there's this genuine love, that that the main character, who's the overweight girl, falls in love with a really uberly duberly sexy guy. And the first time she meets him, she doesn't even talk to him. He doesn't even talk to her. He just passes her in the hallway of school, like by touching her, like passing by her, and then suddenly she has to sing a freaking song about how she is in love with this guy, even though she has had no conversation with him whatsoever. She's not serenading to him, okay? It's not like in the Disney films where there's actually a kind of wooing going on. Like, within the Snow White film, he was wooing her. And it's the same thing with Sleeping Beauty. There was a wooing going on. It wasn't actual, there was like some actual real initiative in it. Obviously fantasy oriented. Clearly fantasy oriented. And it deserves to be in that category because it is a fantasy, because it is a fantasy film. But no, this one tries to say we take place in the 1960s and we're addressing all of these very important issues that are going on, even though we don't really do anything with them, really anything productive or anything that no other film has really talked about, And and this film tries to put in this, and the song, I think, is just so stupid because he hasn't even wooed her. He hasn't even displayed the fact that he is interested in her. She just falls in love with him. And literally, they talk about this whole idea of, you shouldn't judge based upon somebody's looks. But clearly she is in love with him because he is good looking. Okay? Because she doesn't know jack about him. She doesn't. And yet she's singing a song about how they're going to get married. And, just all this bullshit that doesn't make any logical sense whatsoever. Like, I understand having a crush on somebody, but to this level is almost psychotic. I mean, to me, it's crazy. Like, you can fantasize, okay? That's okay. But to put it onto this level, like, to be so devoted to somebody who you have never even bothered to have a conversation with, like, you just, and that's the thing, there's nothing to go upon. Even Romeo and Juliet had something to go upon, because Romeo went up to her and freaking talked with her. Gosh dang you. But she doesn't do that. No, she just sits there and fantasizes about being with this guy. It's like, really, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And you didn't even bother talking to him. You just decided to just sing a song fantasizing about being with him. And again, I think it's just one of those things where, it just bothers me. It's just, it just feels so forced, and again, on the one hand, I'm not trying to say that, these kinds of things can't happen. That there's not as attractive woman can be with a more attractive guy. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying the way that they executed this clearly to me showed that she was basing her assumptions on him just because of his image and what he looked like, and didn't bother talking to him or doing really anything. She just stood there and fantasized about being with this guy, really. And that's, it just bothered me so much watching it. I'm just like, really? Really? Come on. Oh, jeez. It was just stupid. Especially when it's trying to take place in a world where there are teenagers and there's, you know, there's some actual. It's just, oh god, it's just so bad. It's just so bad. So really the only saving grace for this movie, at least for me, is the fact that the songs are decent. I remember doing this musical actually for show choir one year, and I really do enjoy the songs, at least the majority of them I do. I think the majority of the songs work. But a, there are just some of them, like the one that she sings in the hallway. It's just like, really, really, do we need to? And it's not even serenade. She's not even going up to him being like, "Hi," or trying to bring up anything. It's like he touched me. Oh my god. Oh, it's like this insane Beatles mania that maybe they're trying to get at, or Elvis mania that girls had a while back, which I think it's so stupid. Like, trust me, look at some of the old Beatles concert videos and you will understand, like, how crazy and I just don't understand how people can be so enamored with a celebrity, which they kind of tried to make this guy out to be within the film, who is played by none other than Zac Efron. Okay, so, and I think that's my biggest issue with this movie, is the fact that it's kind of embracing that whole idea of, we should accept everybody and blah, blah, blah. And I don't mind that, but I mind the way in which you execute that. And to me, it seems like here, the main character doesn't really change all that much. She's just a genuinely good person. Like, they don't give her really any development all that much. And the villains are just such cookie cuttered out, typical, mean, pretty, white women. I mean, that's, just think of the villains what's it called? Something Help. I think it's The Help. Yeah, think of the villains in The Help. That's pretty much the villains in this movie. These pretty, yeah, we're really evil, pretty white people. It's just so bizarre. I mean, it's stupid. A lot of this movie to me is just stupid and not well constructed, and I just don't like musicals that try to be too happy. Like, I don't like that because there's no genuineness to it. There's no real effort. There's no grit. There's no real struggle. There's nothing really that happens within this movie. And for some reason, the critics love this movie for whatever reason. But to be honest, I really don't care for the way they approached everything. I thought it was cheap. It wasn't executed all that well. The main character doesn't really grow or change or do anything to better herself or anything. It's just all about her just defeating the bad guys, really, and sort of winning out the day because she's talented. And I mean, that's really it. That's really all this movie's got. And it just becomes a shallow mess, like Grease. And kind of appeals to, the girls' fantasies of, getting the really super hot guy. It's like, really? Come on, people. Just yeah. So that's just really it. I mean, I think that's really all I can go about with this movie. I mean, it bothered me. It bothered me the first time I saw it. Even my dad, when he saw the previews of this movie, he was like, "Oh God, no, God no," and I was saying the exact same thing. God no, God help me, because it's just It's not saying anything interesting to me. It's not saying anything new. It's just schlock. It's just musical schlock. Nothing inspirational like Les Mis. Nothing uplifting like Mary Poppins. You know, there's nothing in this movie. And nothing in this friggin' musical probably either that's worthy of really looking at, because they've been addressed extensively within other films, and those other films at least did a more extensive job into going into those issues, whereas this film's just like, yeah, let's just have a scene where and put in this other plot thing about, you know, about what was really going on during the time and blah blah blah, and just so that's my main issues with this film. I think a large part of it has to do with the fact that I don't really care for the way they approached the whole concept of accepting yourself, because they really didn't develop it out to, you know, to where the character actually grows. She's just talented and perfect. She's just overweight, so that's her flaw or whatever. And nobody accepts her because she's overweight, you know, and it's just stupid. It's just stupid. And I just don't like John Travolta in drag. I just don't. I'm sorry. I don't think he does good in drag. And I don't really honestly like any of my actors and actresses playing the opposite genders. I just think it just doesn't really work. Unless they really, really want to, which I don't even know if John Travolta really, really wanted to, or if he just wanted a paycheck. So, yeah, but again, Christopher Walken, barely used to be anybody of importance, and just, it's just, this film just has so much, there's just a lot of things that made me really want to just look away and not want to engage with it. And the only saving grace I can really say is probably the songs, to be honest, for me. I really don't understand why it got this massive appeal and why a lot of people got so invested into this movie. It's just a movie about the 60s. And even then, there were films about the 60s already that came out that, you know, addressed the various issues that were going on, or, you know, have talked about it in a way more clever way. I mean, Forrest Gump literally highlights that whole era within the entire film and makes it really a part of the whole process as he's living his life. This movie doesn't do jack with this whole concept. It could take place in the 80s when Hairspray was popular, and it wouldn't have made a dang lick of difference. You know, and it's just, I just can't rant anymore, otherwise I can go on forever. But there's just a lot of things that bother me about this film. I'm sure there's others that will obviously disagree with me, but I felt that this was just a train wreck, and I don't think it was that great as a lot of people made it out to be. And I felt like there were a lot of flaws, a lot of issues, and I didn't feel like it was trying to be a genuinely inspiring, funny, entertaining musical. I just felt like it was High School Musical disguised as being a professional production, with a little bit more cleverness, obviously, than High School Musical, but still nothing more valuable than that. And yeah, that's just my honest 2 cents. But if there are any questions, comments, concerns, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a pleasant day, week, month, and year, and I hope to see you on the next video. Take care.